Welcome to the Daily Fox Fuel, where we train kingdom-minded creatives, leaders, and builders to become highly skilled craftsmen. Each episode is your spark of strategy, scripture, and straight-up truth to help you walk out your calling with excellence. Now let's get to work.
Yo, what's up, Foxes? Hey, today's Fox Fuel, man, it's one that's gonna, I hope, resonate deeply with some of us listening, because what today's fuel has to do with is pace. Now, I'm not here to talk about find rest and find those moments where you need to just walk in this peaceful stride. That's not what we're doing here today. Now, yes, that is real, that is true, and we should all. It is a piece of today's fuel, but really, what I want to hone in on is, as leaders and as builders, people who are leading others listening to this podcast. I want to remind you that the way that you move gives everyone else permission to do the same. So what I mean by that is, like, if you're moving frantically, then the people you are leading panic. They'll move frantically. If you move with steadiness, then your team will also move with a similar steadiness and confidence. They will walk in step and in stride with you. And it's wild to me. I was just coaching a client yesterday, working through some things, and because here at the Fox, we do a lot more than just marketing and creative services. A lot of what we get to do and what we have the pleasure and opportunity of doing is coaching our clients and their teams through different systems, bigger organizational structure, even growth, and getting to sit down with some of these top tier leaders that are just struggling with different things, and us coming in and seeing it from the bottom up. We get to have frank conversations, and I was just having one yesterday with a client, just being real with them and saying, I think you're very ignorant to the way that you lead. And they just were very taken back, because obviously most people are not telling the top people these things, but that's what we get paid to do. And it was, and they asked why, like, why would you say that? And I said, your team is only reacting in the same way that you will. And so he didn't understand why his team isn't being proactive and taking initiative. But the funny thing is he's not proactive in taking initiative. He's expecting everyone underneath of him to, but they're not. Most people are just leading, and most people are just walking to the leader. They're not actually trying to function, which here's Foxes, that is not how we function. We function as ownership mentality and moving and growing in our own. But the sad thing is that's just how most people are. Most people are made and created. They want to just hear from the leader and run with the leader. And that's great. And we need both sides of that. So if the leader is not in their own stride, if the leader, for example, this specific leader, was not doing what he was expecting his team to do, well, they don't know how to do it, because they're waiting for it to be modeled. They don't know how to do it. They're waiting for it to be shown, right? They're waiting to be taught how to hit his expectations. So I want to encourage us, like, here, think about the pace, think about the things that you're doing. How are you moving frantically? Are you moving strategically? Are you moving steadily? If you're proactive, your team will be proactive. If you're steady, your team will be steady. If you're crazy chaotic and can't handle the heat of planning, your team's not going to plan. That's just how it works. That's how it all streams down from the top. Even as I'm talking about this, I'm thinking about myself, and like, what are the areas that maybe my team is following in my stride, and is that the stride we should be in? I'm always asking those questions. I'm humble enough to look at myself in the mirror and say, hey, I probably need to be doing this better, and open myself up to that feedback. But anyway, back to the point. Bill George, Harvard professor and author, had this quote that just kind of hit me. But the hardest person you'll ever have to lead is yourself. And that is so true. I look back over my life and how hard it has been to just lead myself, because you just kind of get into autopilot, right? And you're just running, and you're also not giving yourself feedback. You're just kind of moving forward. And I think it's just important for us as leaders and builders to know that our pace, our tone, our rhythms, they're contagious. Like they are so contagious. And I think if we're not humble enough to slow down and say, hey, I'm sorry, or maybe check ourselves and fix the course, like course correct in what we're doing, we can go down a really, really dangerous trek. And even if you look around, like from a frantic side of things, like Jesus was never hurried. Even when the crowds were pressed against him, everything was moving quickly around him. He walked with focus and he had peace, but he also had intention. And I think that that's really important for us as leaders to follow and to model after. Matthew says, "Come to me and you will find rest for your souls." So if you're in this frantic place, you're just constantly chaotic. You can't find room for just being at peace. Take it to God. As a leader, take it to God and lay it at his feet. As a team member, take it to God, lay it at his feet, and just reset, recalibrate for a second. Just reorient for a moment and realize that the world is so much bigger than what we each see and what you see, quite honestly. Everyone has things that they're going through. Everyone has certain aspects of their life that we'll never know about. So I think it's important as leadership, we just be consistent, we be focused, we not be frantic, we be planned, not reactive. And I think that you'll see that growth in your team that you are expecting. So my challenge to you today, where have you been leading from hurry, franticness, chaoticness, instead of health? And I want to challenge you to slow your pace so that your team or yourself even knows how to follow.
Hey crew, before you jet, make sure you share this episode with a friend and leave us a rating. Thanks for tuning in today. And remember, stay Foxy.